Yes.
If I may. Left side. The other side of your heart.
No, you don't.
It's like my dark
That's my
joke.
daughter.
I told her the dark
Oh,
joke.
did you?
I got it.
Your first
Okay.
name again is Xantha?
Xanthi. It's
Xanthi.
X-A-N-T-H-E.
Oh, thank you.
Such an interesting name.
Yeah. Well, you can ask her to explain it.
What is
We're
it?
trying for 50 years.
Carolyn. Greek. But we're not Greek. We're Jewish. But we could be Greek.
I'm,
Be
I'm,
Greek.
I'm
There's
glad you
Greek
had to
Jew.
be. This is what I deal with at least once a day. My
No
entire
kidding.
life.
My first name is Kirk, which means church in Irish.
Really?
And I'm thinking, Mom,
What did you do?
what were you?
Right.
What were you making? Right.
But that's not uncommon.
No, it's
Or
not.
Xanthi
It's
is
beautiful,
never
but
heard before.
Yeah.
It's the only name my husband and I agreed on.
Really? Well, yes, true. Well, that's so they tell me.
We were going to name her Nicole, but then everybody would be calling her Nikki, so we didn't like that. Another name we had in mind was Astra.
Astra?
Yeah, but. You can see how that relates
Yeah.
to some other words. So we settled on Xanthi, but everybody calls her X.
Moon Unit 1 and Moon Unit 2.
It's interesting. I
Frank
do not
Zappa.
like my name.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, yeah.
But I gotta be moral and you have to explain it to everybody.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
And you
Yeah.
know, you have to spell
So
it.
how did they come up with Laurel then, your parents?
I don't know. I
think that's
well,
a
if I was a
beautiful
boy, it was going to be
name,
Lauren. I think
Oh.
that's worse.
Oh, that's,
It
yeah, that's
is,
probably
yeah.
worse. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just learned to accept it.
Yeah.
My dad liked ketchup, so they were gonna call me Heinz. My mom liked chocolate.
serious?
Well, my mom liked chocolate. So they called me. My name is Hershey.
And my last name is Nova, and we made fun of it.
Everybody has a story.
Parents can be so cool.
They didn't think they were harmless, but they were good. My grandson's name is Bentley.
Okay.
Bentley?
It's like Mercedes,
Yeah.
Bentley. I mean, what a
Howdy.
weird name for a little boy today.
Can't be as bad as what they named my grandkids.
What?
I got Bodie,
Bodie?
yeah, Bodie, and
Is that a boy or a girl?
it's a boy. It's Bodie Jansen.
Wow.
Martin is the one name, and then the other one is it's so bad you can't even remember how to pronounce it half the time. I'm still trying to remember the other one. It'll come to me
I
later.
have my family in Australia. You know my brother Gary.
Sure, of course.
So
Yes.
he has 3 grandkids now. One is
Oh, Sawyer. Yeah. Sawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have Edison for Thomas Edison.
Yeah.
And the little one is Desmond.
Desmond Tutu.
Yeah, that's all I can think of.
Yeah.
But they live
Eat
in
your
Australia,
peas,
maybe
Desmond.
Desi.
Not those Captain Beefsteak.
Yeah, there you go.
It's 2:30. Do you think this is it?
This is it.
This might be
Do
it.
this. Yeah, we didn't.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to say what I want to say.
We're here. And he's
We're
going to get
listening.
on so they can look at it. And
Right.
they're gonna,
Just a terrier ribbon. If you can stand it, you can
You're not, you won't go far. You might move a little bit, but don't worry.
go ahead.
It doesn't feel like I won't go far. Except I'd be going this way.
Blessed are you, Lord, God's sovereign.
Yes, we're recording times 2. Gentlemen, we're going to start services.
Yeah, please. Sorry.
Tell everybody that Shivers today, but you know where you're going,
Right.
and donations, obviously, you know. So I want to open up just with a small little recitation of Psalm 121, little interpretation. I lift my voice when all is dark. Into God's hands I place my heart. Biado of kiruchi, I'm not afraid, Adonai. I lift my eyes when all is night. When I need help, I seek God's light. Lo echsar Adonai roi. I'm not afraid, Adonai li. Biyado afkid ruchi. I'm not afraid, Adonai li. Join together with you, Harlan, and Anthony, and Aunt Phyllis, to remember David, Father. He lived a very long life. We would have celebrated, you told me, his 92nd birthday. I know that his passing leaves all of you very sad, but you are filled with many wonderful memories of the time that you got to share together. We look to the wisdom of our sages to find comfort. Birth is a beginning and death is a destination. And life is a journey from childhood to maturity and youth to age. From innocence to knowing, from foolishness to discretion, and then perhaps to wisdom. From weakness to strength, or strength to weakness, and often back again. From health to sickness, and back we pray to health again. From loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, and grief to understanding. From fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead. We see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey stage by stage. Birth is a beginning, and death is a destination. And life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage to life everlasting. Adonai roi lo echsar v'nodeh shehi yarbitzeni hamei menuchot yinahaleni nafshi yeshovev yancheni v'maglei tzedek l'ma'an shamo gam ki elech v'geit salamavet lo ira ra ki ata imadi shivtacha u'mishantecha Taroch lefanai shulchan neged zorai tishanta v'shemen roshi kosi revaya ach tov v'cheser yirdefuni kol yemei chayai v'shavti b'veit Adonai le'orech yamim. Psalm 23. The mysteries of life and death are beyond human understanding. We are overwhelmed when pain and anguish befall those whom we love. In sorrow and confronted by death which has taken David from your midst, we feel frailty. Like morning dew, we glisten for an hour or two and disappear into a new day. Ro'eh Yisrael, shepherd of Israel, guide us with love and compassion. In our grief and desolation, we grow distant. Do not abandon us. Draw us closer to you, God. Grant comfort to those who mourn. May they sustain each other with the blessing of memory, the memory of the life of their beloved one. In the valley of the shadow of death, beside the still waters and in the green pastures, you, Adonai, are our shepherd. Be our strength and our shield, our guide, and our comfort throughout all of our days. And we say, Amen. I'm just going to fix the systems. We're just having a little technical difficulty. Not that he needed it. So David was the son of Herman and Sadie. He was born and raised in the Bronx. He was there one summer in the Catskills, and he met his future wife, your mother, and his soulmate, his beloved Sandra, with whom your parents were together for 67 years. They had 3 beautiful children, Bambi and Jay and you, Harlan. I'm sure that the cruelty and pain of losing them was the greatest challenge of their lives. But they carried on with strength and with hope, and they were devoted to you, Harlan. You have been a most loving and devoted son. You took care of your mother. Recently you took care of your father. You made his final years filled with dignity, your devotion, and your care. The 5th commandment of the Torah tells us to honor our parents. It's a little hard to understand that concept when we're little kids. But when they need us, when their strength has left them and their health is dwindling, that's when we understand what it means to honor them, to go out of our way to take care. And that's what you've done. You mentioned that he was an organic chemist with Warner Lambert. He invented all these combined concoctions for drugs, which Pfizer now holds the patents for, you mentioned. You said that on weekends, you would go to the lab with your dad, and it created a bit of a problem for you. You said that you learned the industry so well that you got yourself into a bit of trouble at school with your expert knowledge. You kind of told your chemistry teacher in high school what's what. It was a very quick time, though, that your teacher learned not to mess with you. Though you didn't follow in your dad's footsteps, and you became an engineer, you mentioned that you learned so many things. He taught you how to persevere through difficult times, and that a man's word was his bond. Your father told you that working hard was a step to success, and a strong work ethic was worth everything. He nurtured your lack of interest in baseball into the love of baseball. He was a lifelong Yankees fan, and he took you to see a game when you got to see the great Mickey Mantle. You mentioned that your dad wasn't a great driver. Having grown up in New York City, no one drives well there. But he liked race cars. You mentioned that when you were very young, you found a book on internal combustion engines. What were you, 5, 6, something like that?
Really young.
And that fascinated you, so he started working on that with you, taught you about that. Helped your brother fly model airplanes. And, of course, your sister was his precious little girl. He loved life. He wanted to squeeze as much out of it as he could. He was, as a youngster, a Boy Scout, you said. He loved camping as an adult. Your mother, not so much, but she went along with it. He loved photography, and you mentioned that he accumulated an enormous stamp collection. Good luck with that. We have the same one. We could compare notes. You also mentioned to me that your dad was an incredibly voracious reader, and he read 3 different papers a day. You said the New York Times, the local Daily Record, and the Newark Star-Ledger. He loved classical music, and it permeated your house, probably the car too. He subjected the kids to listen to opera nearly every afternoon, you said. And that he would say you should go to the movies, which you didn't want to do, but he put on opera and you willingly ran out of the house. He will be remembered, as we talked about, as a friendly and outgoing man who was very easy to talk to. He was a man of kindness and compassion and certainly integrity. He said he had a wonderful sense of humor and he liked a good joke. He supported the arts. He loved going to the art museum. He loved the theater. He loved the symphony. And you said he loved going to the zoo. What was his favorite place there?
I like reptile house.
Really, the reptile
Yes,
house?
I like the reptile. I would take a dragon to the reptile.
We used to like Monkey Island, but everybody's got their own thing. The simile of a book is a wonderful way to describe David's life. Each day of his life was a page in his book, and it was filled with the details of words spoken and his deeds that he did. These sorts of biographies are not determined by their length, but by depth, and the merits of biographies such as this are not judged by their cover, but by the lasting inspiration that people derive from them. Today we've gathered together to write the last chapter of the book of life of David Moses Lustgarten, son of Herman and Sadie. This book is now complete. The entries that he made into the living volumes of his family and his friends and of all who knew him will continue to influence and to guide you in the years ahead. May he now rest in peace for a life well lived and well loved. Amen. Helen, did you want to say a couple of things?
David was devoted to Sandy. He was a great father, and he loved his work. I mean, he got up and it wasn't work. He enjoyed doing it. I spent the last day afternoon with him, and he said, "Where's Mom? Where's Sandy?" And I said, "She's in Cleveland." She goes, "What's she doing in Cleveland?" I said, "She's with Phyllis." She goes, "Oh." I said, "What's she doing?" "She's shopping." So he said, "Well, you got to get me to Cleveland." I said, "I'll get you there very soon. You need to rest. And I'll take you there very soon." So I'm packing the car. And then he passed around midnight. After I had left. And then, so he was a foodie. He loved food. He loved food. I'm trying to end on that. He loved food. He loved chocolate. Yeah, he always wanted to try new foods, and he was critical of my choices, but he was open to trying. So he had a lot of. I mean, it wasn't the easiest for him. But he made the best of it, and that's why I tried to take care of him to where I live, so I could be there as much as possible. The last year and a half or 2 years. Thank you. You want to share something?
You don't have to give it.
Oh, okay. When I think of David, I think of red hair. He had red hair. And he was crazy about my sister. And he used to come to our house in Cleveland from New York. And Sandy would be lying in bed upstairs like a queen. And I'd come down to maybe 11 o'clock. And David was up at the crack of dawn, just kind of pacing the room. So my parents would get upset, They said, "Well, David, what you could do is go down to the drugstore, the newspapers there, They didn't know what to do. And then ran upstairs, Sandy, get up. She was up there like the Queen of Sheba. Asleep. She wasn't really sleeping, I don't think. But anyway, then she would come down at her own good time, and he just couldn't wait. And the way they met, I thought, was really interesting, and that is, David has 4 cousins. They were the closest. And they've come forward in this time, too. They're all in their 80s, and they live in New York. But there are 4 sisters. And see, our family was constructed with 4 sisters, and then my brother at the tail end. And so we used to go to, I forget her name, Mrs. Katz's, kosher house. In the mountains, and anyway, we would be all sitting at one table. We appeared in a great big black blanket linen thing, so we had the spots. And then David would sit at the next table, just kind of watching us, like, "Who are these people?" And so finally, my dad said, "Come and join us," and that was it. That was the beginning. And so we did, and that's how Sandy and David met. They were very young. Sandy was 16, and David wasn't much older. I don't think about 2 years older.
About 2 years,
Yeah,
probably about 2 years.
that is how they met. Well, it was a long marriage. Interesting story. Thank you.
Couple, yes. Well, he was funny. He did have a good sense of humor. Not intentionally.
I know.
When they moved down to Florida, I came to visit, and I remember him saying, "Thank you. You can't get a good rye bread for lover money." And they don't know from Woody Allen here. I always felt that he liked me particularly, and that was nice. And then, you know, we were talking at lunch today. I mean, you had, when my mom and I came to visit your mom, you had both your mom and your dad in different floors of the hospital at the same time. I mean, it was just an awful, awful lot. And what was to eat was always, you know, and I think that kept them going. I really do. I saw a deeper side of that. I mean, we would walk down the ICU and you couldn't tell if people were alive or dead looking in their rooms. And, you know, your mom was, you know, having these peas again for lunch. And the last night that we were there, you know, we were visiting Sandy, and we were discussing what we were going to do for dinner, and she was insisting that we go to, I think it wasn't the Gandy Dancer, but it was the nice place that we, Earl's?
Yeah.
Earl's, yeah. So, and she was saying, and we had in our minds we couldn't go there for some reason. The timing didn't work or whatever. And she just asked for the phone and called information. I mean, she couldn't call them, you know, she called information and got connected to Earl's and started making a reservation for us from her deathbed, literally. And we're like, Sandy, no, we can't, and you know, yes, 2 at 6, that would be perfect, thank you. And we all went because that was the thing to do. And when we came to say goodbye the next morning, we had not ordered the right dish.
Oh,
We had not gotten the duck. And I don't remember if it was when we went to go visit David or she spoke to David on the phone, but she reported to David that we had gone under instruction to Earl's, but we had not gotten the duck. And they talked about how horrible that who would go to Earl and not get the duck. And my last, you know, really my last memory of both of them, the last time I saw them, he said to her, Sandy, we're going to go to Earl's and we're going to get the duck. She said, okay. Yeah. They really did have a lifelong love affair, or, you know, ups and downs, but they were loyal to each other, and that kept them going. Never heard of her.
You know.
now you
Oh, it's
did.
in Ann Arbor.
Yeah. Sorry.
The duck, who would go?
Don't
Look at the duck. These are the memories that when we share them, keep our loved ones alive.
Yeah.
Keep telling the stories. We cry, but we laugh a lot too, as we remember them. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we will remember him. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we'll remember him. In the opening of buds and in the rebirth of spring, we will remember him. In the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we will remember him. When we are weary and in need of strength, we will remember him. We have joys that we yearn to share. We will remember him. So long as we live, he too shall live, for he is a part of all of us as we remember David today. Guys from your mother.
For what?
You can't get up and
Do you want to say Stephen?
I could say Steve, that's fine. I think I
the traditional memorial prayer. El Rachamim Shochem B'Amrunim Hamitzeh Menucha Nechona Tachat Kafei Shechina Im Kedoshim U'Tehorim Kezor Harakia Mazim Et Nishmat David ben Chaim Shalach le'olamo Ba'al ha'rachamim Yastirehu beseter kenafav le'olamim Bitzro chaim et nishmato Adonai hu nachalato V'yanuach b'shalom al mishkavo V'nomar amen. Passionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to David, son of Herman and Sadie, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let him find refuge in the shadow of your wings, and let his soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is his inheritance, and now may he rest in peace. And we say, Amen. Say to David one last time, Lech ki shilachecha Adonai. Go your way, for God has called you. Lech v'Adonai yiyeh imach. Go your way, and may God be with you. V'halach lefanecha tzidkecha, kivod Adonai ya'asvecha. May your righteousness go before you, and the glory of God receive you. Returns to the earth as it was. The spirit returns to God who gave it. It is only the house of the spirit which we now lay within the earth. The spirit itself cannot die. Receive in mercy, O God, the soul of our departed David Lustgarten. Grant him that everlasting peace prepared for us in the world to come. No human eye has seen, nor ear has heard, has grasped it. Still, it is our sure inheritance. Conclude the service with the hallowed words of Kaddish. a little bit of Hebrew, a little bit of Aramaic mixed together. And they're associated with death and with burial and with remembering. But they don't mention anything about death. They mention only about God's greatness. They tell us that even in these difficult times, God is great, God is gracious, God's name is great. And it also serves as a way for us to move forward. It's really hard to come up with words at this moment. Somehow these words, whether we understand them or not, are the first way that we can step back with the living, by praising God, even in our difficult moment. I hope that wherever your parents are, they are together, they're at Earl's, and they ordered the duck. Let's join together with the words of Kaddish as we remember. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba Ba'alma divra chilutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba Mivarach Le'olam U'Amei Amaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yit Ha'ar V'yit Romam V'yit Nasei V'yit Hadar V'yit Aleh V'yit Halal Shemei Dikudisha B'Richu Le'ela min ol birchata v'shirata v'tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran v'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya v'chayim alinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'romav, ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace and comfort to all who are bereaved. Amen ve'amen. The final act, the final mitzvah that we can perform today is to begin to cover the grave. The sound of the earth makes it a large thud. It's a frightening sound. But it's also warmth and covering. Some sort of comfort in it. Your parents, your mom, your dad, raised you with their loving hands. And now it's our obligation to say goodbye in the most final act that can never be repaid with our own loving hands as we begin to cover the grave. So I'd like to take a shovel.
Oh, go ahead. You put some earth on there, and then really mind touching the shovel. So that's
I'll do what?
Touch
You're
it.
just gonna touch. You'll put your hand on the shovel. That
Oh,
way,
Just
okay.
touch the shovel.
touch the shovel.
Okay,
That means you
Thank
were part of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else would like to represent
Thanks.
Cousins. Normally, what I do here is I place 2 more shovels.
Okay.
I place 1 shovel for those who have gone before, and 1 shovel for those who could not be here with you today. You can place as much as you wish. I just
Right.
wanted to.
I understand. Now I
Yeah.
understand the custom. Parents? Your cousins, you can't be here.
this, and that when you go forward, it remains in your heart, gives you peace. When you return to your house, you will light the candle, and that is, there's a prayer. It's just the light of your dead soul. And you keep that alive, you keep it burning all the days that we live. So I wish you peace and I wish you health as you go forward.
Oh.